Hello bachcho, how are you? Welcome in Sai Academy. In this video lecture, we'll be learning about the technique of how to solve problems related to class 9, chapter 8, that is quadrilaterals. We will solve the problems of exercise 8.2. The question will be from serial number 1 to 4. That is, we'll solve the problems 1 to 4 of this exercise 8.2. So let us start the video lecture. So the first question states that ABCD is a quadrilateral in which P, Q, R and S are midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CD and DA. See figure 8.29, where AC is a diagonal. Then so that question part 1, SR is parallel to AC and SR equals to half of AC. Part 2, PQ is equal to SR, and part 3, PQRS is a parallelogram. So related to this diagram, we have to solve the three sub problems, and we are given that ABCD is a parallelogram and PQRS are the midpoints of side AB, BC, CD and DA respectively, and also it is given that AC is a diagonal. So we have to prove the problems 1, 2, 3. So let us prove. Since in triangle ABC, this triangle ABC, P is the midpoint of this side AB and Q is the midpoint of side BC. Therefore, by the midpoint theorem, PQ will be parallel to AC. This PQ will be parallel to this side AC, and this also be equal to half of the AC. This comes from the virtue of the midpoint theorem. So this becomes equation 1. Now in triangle ADC, so we'll take this triangle now ADC, and in this triangle we have already known that R and S are the midpoints of CD and DA respectively. Therefore, again by the midpoint theorem, this SR will be parallel to this AC, and this SR again will be equal to half of AC. So we have the equation 2. Now combining these two equations 1 and 2, we get that PQ is parallel to SR and SR is PQ is parallel to SR parallel to AC, and PQ is equal to SR equals to half of AC. So we combine the two equations because we had PQ is equal to AC, PQ is parallel to AC and SR is parallel to AC. Therefore, PQ is parallel to SR, and here PQ equals to SR. So this becomes equation number 3. So we have solved the part 2 also. Now part 3, we have to prove that PQRS is a parallelogram. Since quadrilaterals PQRS has one pair of sides parallel to each other and equals also, therefore it becomes the parallelogram, because for any quadrilateral to be a parallelogram, there must one pair of opposite sides should be parallel and equal. So we get the feature of the parallelogram. That's why PQRS becomes a parallelogram. Now the next problem, question number 2. ABCD is a rhombus and PQR and S are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CD and DA respectively, so that the quadrilateral PQRS is a rectangle. So we are given ABCD is a rhombus and PQR and S are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CD and DA. After joining these points P, Q, R and S, we get a quadrilateral and we have to prove that this quadrilateral becomes a rectangle. Now let us start the solution. So we are given that ABCD is a rhombus. So rhombus has feature that all the sides are equal and no angles of the rhombus is a 90-degree, but their diagonals intersect at right angles. So also P, Q, R and S are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CD and DA. These all are given. So we have to prove that PQRS is a rectangle. So for this, let us draw AC and SQ and PR. So ultimately we drawn the diagonals of the rhombus ABCD and diagonals of this quadrilateral PQRS. Now in triangle ABC, this triangle, P is the midpoint of AB and Q is the midpoint of BC. That means that is given. Then by midpoint theorem, this PQ will be parallel to AC and it also be equal to half of AC. So it becomes equation number 1. Similarly, in triangle ADC, we can show that this SR, because S and R are the midpoint of sides DA and DC respectively, therefore SR by the theorem of midpoint, SR becomes the parallel to the AC and it also equals to the half of AC. So we have the equation number 2. Now combining equation 1 and 2, we have PQ is parallel to AC and SR is parallel to AC. Therefore, we have PQ is parallel to SR. Again, since PQ is equal to half AC and SR is equal to half AC, so combining result gives that PQ is SR. Thus, we see that we have one pair of opposite sides of quadrilateral PQRS is parallel and equal, and which is the property of a parallelogram. Thus PQRS becomes a parallelogram. Now we have to prove that PQRS is a rectangle. We already proved that PQRS becomes a parallelogram. Now since ABCD is a rhombus, it is given, and therefore all sides of this rhombus are equal, that is AB is equal to BC is equal to CD is equal to DA. Now utilize this feature. So ABQS is a parallelogram. So ABQS, this is a parallelogram. because S and Q is the midpoint of AD and BC respectively. Therefore, this ABQS will be a parallelogram, and since AB is equal to SQ, opposite sides of the parallelograms are equal, therefore AB is equal to SQ. Also, in parallelogram PB, CR, this. Now we are taking this parallelogram. In this parallelogram, BC equals to PR because opposite sides are equal, but AB equals to BC. Therefore, BC is equal to AB. So we can have this AB is equal to SQ and AB is equal to PR. Therefore, we get SQ is equal to PR. So ultimately what we did, that we considered the parallelogram ABQS and we find the result that AB is equal to SQ. Similarly, we consider the parallelogram PBCR and we prove that AB is equal to BC is equal to PR, and by virtue of the virtue of the rhombus AB is equal to BC, so we get SQ is equal to PR. Therefore, we proved that diagonal of PQRS are equal, hence the PQRS is a rectangle. Problem is solved. Now next problem. In question number 3, it is given ABCD is a rectangle, PQ, R and S are midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CD and DA respectively, so that the quadrilateral PQRS is a rhombus. So we have to prove that PQRS is rhombus, where PQRS is obtained after joining the midpoints of AB, BC, CD and DA. So this quadrilateral PQRS, we have to prove that it is a rhombus. So let us start. So we are given that ABCD is a rectangle. This ABCD is given and that is rectangle. And PQ, R and S are the midpoints of sides AB, BC, CD and DA respectively. So we have to prove that PQRS is a rhombus. Now let us join PQ, R and S together. Therefore, we obtained PQRS and that is a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. Now join A to C also. That is the diagonal of the rectangle ABCD. Now in the triangle ABC, this triangle, P is the midpoint of AB, Q is the midpoint of BC. Therefore, by midpoint theorem, this PQ becomes parallel to AC and also equals to half of AC. So we get this PQ is parallel to AC and PQ is equal to half of AC. This becomes equation number 1. Similarly, in triangle ADC, we know that S and R are the midpoints of AD and DC respectively. Therefore, SR becomes parallel to AC and also SR is equal to half of AC. Therefore, this also becomes because of the midpoint theorem. So this equation 2 and 1 gives together PQ is parallel to SR and PQ is equal to SR. That means this PQ and SR becomes parallel and they are also equal to each other. Therefore, PQRS becomes a parallelogram. Now further, ABCD is a rectangle. It is given that ABCD is a rectangle and we proved that PQRS is a parallelogram. But AD, this AD is equal to BC. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal and AB is also equal to DC. Opposite sides are equal. Now this gives AD is equal to BC implies that half AD is equal to half BC. That means AS is equal to BQ. That means this side AS is equal to this side BQ. Now we will prove that this triangle PBQ and PAS are congruent. Now in triangle APS and BPQ, AP is equal to PB because P is the midpoint. Therefore AP is equal to PB. Now AS is equal to BQ. We proved this. And also this angle is 90 degree because ABCD is a rectangle. So by SAS rule we got that triangle APS and triangle BQP are congruent. Therefore, by the property of CPCT, that is, corresponding parts of the congruent triangles are equal, this gives that this PS and PQ are equal. Therefore, using equation 3 and 4, so this is equation 4 and this is equation 3. So we have this equation 3 and this is 4. So this gives that PS equals to PQ is equal to SR. Therefore, we have all the three sides of this parallelogram are equal and this already a parallelogram, and if three sides are equal, that means other four sides will also be equal. Therefore, we proved that PQRS is a rhombus. So this was the problem. Now question number 4. ABCD is a trapezium in which AB is parallel to DC, BD is a diagonal, and E is the midpoint of AD. A line is drawn through E parallel to AB intersecting BC at F. Now we have to show that F is the midpoint of BC. So we have to show that this F is the midpoint of BC. So what we are given? Let us solve. We are given that ABCD is a trapezium and AB is parallel to DC. This side is parallel to this side and E is the midpoint of AD. Also it is given that EF is parallel to AB. So we have to prove that F is the midpoint of BC. Now since AB is parallel to DC and EF is parallel to AB, therefore all three sides becomes parallel to each other. Now let EF intersect BD at point G. Since EF is parallel to AB and E is the midpoint, therefore for the triangle ABD, G will be the midpoint by the virtue of midpoint theorem. Similarly, in triangle BDC, if we consider this triangle, we proved that G is the midpoint of this BD and this G is lying on this parallel line EF. Therefore, GF will be parallel to AB, and in this triangle BDC, G is the midpoint and GF is the parallel to DC. Therefore, by the property of midpoint theorem, this F is the midpoint of BC. So, we utilize the converse midpoint theorem and we prove that F is the midpoint of BC. Hence, we proved the problem. So, बच्चों, I hope that you understood the solution of all these 4 questions. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment box. Your comments are important to us because without telling us, we can't understand your doubts and problems. So, please inform us your doubts so that we can solve your queries. बच्चों, if you have not subscribed the Sai Academy channel till now, please subscribe it because after subscription you will get notification of the upcoming videos on the time and you can utilize the videos lecture for your understanding of the problems and concepts. So subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for getting the notification. Thank you.